The movie starts by introduces us to Thana, a quiet and kind-hearted 22-year-old woman living in New York City. She works as a seamstress at a design company, crafting beautiful clothing with precision and creativity. Outside of her job, she often takes on side gigs, filling her days with work and staying focused on her life. Thana is not one to cause trouble or draw attention to herself. She keeps to her own world. Her colleagues and friends admire her gentle personality, and even her manager sees her as a kind and reliable person. One day, Thana's friends invite her to hang out after work, hoping she'll join them for some fun. But Thana politely declines, saying she'd rather head home. She enjoys the comfort of her own space, away from the city's hustle and bustle. However, that evening, her quiet life takes a horrifying turn. As Thana steps into her apartment, she's startled to find a stranger, a thief, already inside. He's armed and demands money, pointing his gun at her. Frightened and unable to speak, Thana tries to scream, but the thief quickly realizes that she is mute. Instead of leaving, he becomes cruel and does something unimaginable. He assaults her, thinking she won't be able to tell anyone. The trauma and betrayal break Thana's spirit, but when the thief carelessly drops his gun, she seizes the moment. Fueled by desperation, she grabs a heavy metal object and strikes him. She hits him again and again until he is dead. With the intruder's lifeless body in her bathroom, Thana, emotionally shattered, chooses to bury her emotions deep inside. The next day, she heads to work as if nothing has happened, hiding the dark truth from everyone. Her co-workers notice nothing unusual. Thana is still the quiet and diligent seamstress they know. But when Thana returns home that evening, she has a plan. She carries garbage bags and newspapers into her apartment and begins the grim task of dismembering the thief's body. Piece by piece, she wraps the remains in plastic bags, preparing to dispose of them. The following morning, Thana takes one of the bags to a neighborhood garbage bin, blending in with the routine disposal of trash. She intends to get rid of the body little by little, avoiding suspicion. Days turn into weeks, and Thana continues her unsettling routine. One day, as she's dropping off a bag at the trash bins, a neighbor mistakenly thinks she's left something valuable behind. Trying to be helpful, he picks up the bag and calls out to her. Panic washes over Thana as she sees him approaching with the bag. Without thinking, she runs. The man, still believing he's doing her a favor, chases after her. Thana leads him to a desolate area and, in a moment of sheer fear and desperation, pulls out a gun and shoots him. She leaves the scene, disappearing into the city's shadows. At home, Thana keeps the remaining body parts in her refrigerator. Her elderly neighbor, Mrs. Nazone, becomes concerned when she hasn't seen Thana in a while and decides to check on her. Thana assures her that she's simply been unwell and promises to visit soon. However, Mrs. Nazone's dog, Phil, begins sniffing around the fridge, barking loudly as if he senses something inside. Mrs. Nazone, oblivious to what's hidden there, grabs her dog and leaves, apologizing for the disturbance. As days go by, Thana's mental state deteriorates. The trauma and the killings take a toll on her, and she finds herself unable to sleep at night. Her anger toward those who hurt women begins to consume her. She convinces herself that she must take justice into her own hands. Transforming herself into a vigilante, she dons bold new looks and ventures out at night with her gun. She targets men who harass women or try to flirt with her, killing them without hesitation. The murders start making headlines. Newspapers report an unknown killer on the loose, and the city grows uneasy. Meanwhile, at work, Thana continues to appear as her usual self, hiding her double life from her colleagues. Her manager, Andrew, has always been fond of her and decides to invite her to a Halloween party, hoping to spend time with her. To his surprise, Thana agrees to attend. Before the party, Thana encounters a man who claims to be a photographer. He compliments her beauty and asks if she'd like to model for him. Thana, without uttering a word, follows him to his studio. Once inside, she swiftly kills him and leaves, adding another name to her growing list of victims. That night, she finally arrives at the Halloween party, blending in with the festive crowd. At the party, Thana appears to enjoy herself, mingling with her co-workers and friends. Andrew, emboldened by alcohol, suggests they step away for some privacy. Thana agrees, and the two find themselves alone in a room. But when Andrew begins to make unwelcome advances, Thana's rage boils over. She pulls out her gun and shoots him, killing him instantly. The sound of the gunshot sends the party into chaos. As people panic and try to flee, Thana descends into a murderous frenzy, killing every man she encounters at the party. Her mind is flooded with memories of her own trauma, fueling her actions. But her rampage comes to an abrupt end when Lori, one of the women at the party, stabs her from behind. Thana collapses, succumbing to her injuries. The police arrive shortly after and begin investigating. At Thana's apartment, they uncover the horrifying truth, a severed head hidden in her fridge. The revelation shocks everyone who knew Thana. The quiet, kind seamstress they thought they knew was, in fact, a tormented and vengeful killer. In a bittersweet ending, Mrs. Nazone's dog, Phil, whom Thana had abandoned in the wilderness, finds his way back home. The sight of her beloved pet brings Mrs. Nazone a small measure of comfort amidst the tragedy. And so, the movie Ms. 45 concludes, leaving viewers to reflect on the devastating impact of trauma and the fine line between justice and vengeance. Dear viewers, thank you for joining us on this journey through Ms. 45. Let us know your thoughts about the movie in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest recaps. Until next time, stay safe and take care.